Thank you, Brother Ed. And good morning and welcome to Unity of Love and Understanding Circle of Love, or Sunday Gathering. So I invite you to all turn within with me, and let's begin as we always do with a prayer. Let's know that the same divine energy that created this universe and continues to expand it is inside each and every one of us. And it's that energy that connects us all together. So when we are more of ourselves, that means we are more connecting to each other. We are more blessing each other, sending love down the line. So that's what the intention that we set this day and every day is, to be an active energetic of the divine and express and be love. So let's bless this service. Let's bless each other, all those who see this in any form, way, or shape. And just know that everything is working together for our good in this very moment. Thank you, Father. And so it is. Amen. Well, we have a lot of special things today. So we're going to begin with our own Sharon Smith, and she's going to start us off with a song today. Sharon, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. I pray you'll see our light and watch us as we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer. When we lose our way, lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe. I pray you'll be our eyes and hold it in our hearts, and guide us to be wise when shadows fill our walls. Let this be our prayer. When we lose our way, lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we will be safe. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe. We'll be safe.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much. God bless. Wow. Okay. Well, the reading today is from Meditations of the Heart by Dr. Howard Thurman. And it's about a conversation he was having with a gentleman he was visiting. And the gentleman says, "One thing that I've learned in my blindness, my contact with people is direct and immediate. How a person looks, what they have on, what gestures they convey. Not any of these things by which we bolster our self respect and convey our meanings makes any difference to me. I can't see. I can only hear. All of your meaning, all of your integrity or looks, it must be put into words. And the words come without clothing. Sometimes it is dreadful. The exposure that's revealed when a person cannot hide behind their customary defenses. It's funny because I have a dear friend back east who is an amazing motivational speaker. He also happens to be blind. And he'd been invited to this, it was like a American Legion Club to do a talk. And the person who was introducing him really didn't know who he was and didn't know anything about him, and basically pleaded with the audience to listen to this man and hear what he had to say because, well, he's blind. You know, it was like we have to take pity on him. And my friend is a very sharp man, and he got up, moved himself towards the platform, and started rubbing his eyes as if he was crying and said, "Oh, woe is me, I'm blind." And then he laughed. And the whole place broke out in laughter. And then he delivered a talk that was so uplifting and rousing that he got a standing ovation at the end of it. Basically, the challenge that we have as human beings is that we have a tendency of looking and at the superficial things, at a person's appearance, what they look like, what they sound like, what is their background, what's their successes, who do they know, what position do they have? When none of those things really tell you about the person themselves, they don't tell you about the individual. They don't tell you about their integrity. They don't tell you about how they treat other people, what they think of other people. You have to take the time to look and to find out those things yourself. The challenge that we have too is that once we've made an opinion, we've sorted it into a category that we've created or we've learned. And it's almost like we have blinkers on. We don't hear or see anything outside of what we think it should be. When someone saw a blind individual, they thought, well, he can't, what can he do? What can he teach me? I find that people that have various disabilities have a lot more to teach me than those who don't. Because they've learned to work with things that have forced them into an expansion of the things that they have. Like my friend has amazing hearing. He could tell you exactly what was happening across a room because he's developed that along the way. But we don't take the time for that in most cases. But when you do take the time to get to find out about a person, you get to understand them at a depth that you would never have seen otherwise, that you get amazed at the things that the person has experienced or the person has knowledge of that they can convey to you. You'll be amazed. I do a lot of funerals. I mean, I actually love doing a funeral. That sounds crazy. I love weddings, but I also love funerals because even with people that I don't know, because it gives me an opportunity to learn about the person who's made their passing, but they haven't gone anywhere because the people in that room have been touched by that person in ways that will live on long past their physical body. When I do a service, I always ask people to just move past your embarrassment. People want to know something that you know about this person that they don't know. And I'm going to tell you, the 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 relatives of the person, even the husbands and wives, whatever, they learn stuff they never knew about this person. They never knew. It amazes people the things that we find out that this person had different aspects of that you didn't see because you weren't looking for it, or they didn't feel comfortable showing it around you. It's about learning to be open. I did a funeral this past week for someone who, oh, one of our singers, Bertha Crudell, who made her passing about 3 months ago. She had a daughter that it was her firstborn that the doctors, when she had the baby, said two things. Your child will be a vegetable and never walk. And just, she didn't accept that. So she took the child and she taught it to walk. And by 5, the child who was supposedly never supposed to be totally incapacitated was walking. And she taught her how to speak some things that she remembered. And the the actual capacity of learning was never past a 2-year-old. However, there was gifts that this individual brought. When her mother would walk into the room, she would light up the whole room with mama, 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 mama. There was such an acknowledgement by this little child at the time that this was her mother, and she never stopped that. She never stopped that throughout her entire life. She always recognized, whether it was a picture of her mother or a mother walking in the door, she had that connection with her mother that transcended the mental capacity that people said that she was supposed to have. She just cared about people. She could see that when she saw her mother and her sister and her brother and any other friend that happened to be around, she lit up. But most people didn't look for that. It's really sad that what we do with people is we take them for granted. We accept what the norm says that someone is or does or can or can't do. And we don't allow them to open themselves up and to excel. But they may do it themselves. They may not show you because you're not an open space for it. All of us have a spark of the divine inside of each and every one of us. It is what connects us all together. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you are. That part of creation is a part that links me to you, to you, to you, to you, and so on. But underneath it all, there's a piece of us that is the humanity of us, the person of us, the earthly existence of us. And if you can understand that the spark of the divine is in you, you can also then open up to all the earthly possibilities of an individual. And then you don't see a blind person, or you don't see a mentally disabled person. You don't see the problems, you see all of their gifts. I've traveled the world and I have met people in every walk of life that you can conceive of. And every one of them, bar none, has gifts that they want to share. Even if it's just a hello, even if it's just that connection. Whatever it is, I want to learn it. I want to experience every individual that I come in contact with. I want to give them the freedom to be who they are, to express the beauty and the love that's inside of them in a way that they want to share. What greater gift can you give a person than to allow that person to be themselves? Instead of telling them what they shouldn't do, looking at them and finding the beauty and the magnificence inside of them and lifting that up. You know, that's the key to parenting. It's the key to parenting because what it's doing is it's establishing a state of infinite possibilities for that child. You're not confining them into a barrier that your mind has created, not them, but your mind created that barrier that they're supposed to be contained within. We're infinite beings. We don't get contained in a barrier like that. There is beauty and love and magnificence in each and every one of us. It has to have the freedom to be released. When I ran sales organizations for technology companies, one of the things that I'd love to do was to find out, sit down with each of the individuals who worked for me and ask them, what were their goals? What were their desires in life? Not just at this job, but what were you looking to do? How would you qualify success in your life? What were you looking to achieve? And you'd be surprised at some of the things you hear. But everything that I heard was their personal desires. And what I liked to do was to try to see whether we could match up what we were doing in the company to meet that person's desires so that we can all walk and ascend together. There's a point of achievement that people didn't understand how my entire operation was so successful. That was the reason for it. Because I wasn't beating people over the head to say, this is what you got to do. I was finding out what they needed to be successful. And I was helping them to be successful. And as I helped them, they became successful in the company. It has nothing to do with your education. It has nothing to do with, what level you are in society. It has to do with your desire. I've found people with very little education who are the most incredible people to deal with and work with that I'd ever known. And they were also some of the most successful. It's what do you want? What do you desire? What is motivating you? When we individually care about everyone that we meet, we're conveying something that is so powerful, that's so embracing, that's so loving, that it transforms the individual into a free person, into a creative dynamic that they couldn't have been if you didn't set them free. I love to see that all the people that I work with were successful, and everyone was, because we all helped each other to be the success that we desired. We didn't see faults. We didn't look for the defect. We looked for that spark of creativity, that push that was inside of those individuals that said, I want to do even more because this is motivating me. Wow. How successful can you be? I want you to be that successful. I want everyone to think about everyone that you work with, that you family member, friends. Do you treat them that way? Or do you try to put them in a box? You'll only get that much if you put them in a box. Whereas the world is open when you let them understand that you're there to support them, no matter what. That is what being human is really about. It's that magnificent connection we have within us. So let's get still for a moment. So before you can feel a connection with someone else, you have to know that it's inside of you. So I want you to, in this moment, to just feel and sense that spark of the divine that, is waiting to burst forth inside of you. In whatever creative functions that it is, whether it's to sing or to play a musical instrument, to write a magnificent paper and thesis, to offer a helping hand to some other individual. Every one of those is significant. Just a caring word, that's significant. What do you have to offer today to make the world a little bit better, to make an individual feel the excellence that's within them? What do you have to do? Just open your eyes. Feel that dynamo that's standing in front of you, that you're even just thinking about right now. You're giving them freedom. You're supporting their desires. You're a friend. You're being human. And you're seeing them as the human and the spiritual being that they are. Thank you, Father. And so it is. Amen. Brother Ed, I know you got something for us.
Soon as I arrive, I'll let you know. Until then, you can catch me in the flow. You go your way and I'll go mine. We'll meet up somewhere down the line, and we can sit and watch this world unwind. It's not perfect yet, but getting better all the time. It's not perfect yet, but getting better all the time. I put my intention in motion and take it off my mind. Now I sit here watching it all appear, and in this moment I feel fine. It's not perfect yet, but getting better all the time. And now there's nothing outside my reach I ain't got here. I know everything I need to know, but it ain't quite clear. All those dreams I had left behind, all that happiness I hope to find, it all comes back around in my sweet time. I'm not perfect yet, but getting better all the time. Not perfect yet, but getting better all the time. I put my intention in motion, take it off my mind. Now I sit here watching it all appear, and in this moment I feel fine. I'm not perfect yet, but getting better all the time. Further on up the road I get, the further I got to go. Looking at the map, I guess there's a light that doesn't show. Sometimes I think I'm almost there, but I could be wrong. Truth is, I just make it up as I go along. I'm not perfect yet, but getting better all the time. I'm not perfect yet, but getting better all the time. I put my intention in motion and take it off my mind. Now I sit here watching it all appear, and in this moment I feel fine. And I'm perfect yet, but getting better all the time. Perfect yet, but getting better all the time. I'm not perfect yet, but getting better all the time.
Beautiful, brother Ed. Thank you. That was great. Well, this is our conscious sharing time, and I'm going to put the donation information up. First of all, whatever you do, imbued with the energy of love, just whatever it is, your intentions, your gifts, whatever, everything you do with love. So there's a number of ways that you can contribute to us if you'd like to. So pick yours if you like. Just know that, again, love is the primary motivation here. So we just bless the gift and the giver and know that all is in divine order here. Thank you, Father. And so it is. Amen. I'm going to place the new share, and I'm going to put the prayer protection up for us. I'd like everyone to read. This is James Dillard Freeman's prayer protection. I'd like to read this together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen. I want to say thank you for joining us today. It's always a pleasure. And this is not the end of our service. For those of you who are seeing this on YouTube, we go into another whole section where everybody who's online right now has an opportunity to share their insights. We learn from each other. That's a very big portion of what we do here. It's not about a one-way piece. It's your insights, and we learn from you too. So if you'd like, please join us at before 9:50 a.m. Pacific time. You go to the website that was just on the screen, loveinu.org, unityofloveinyu.org, and there's a topic on the right side, and halfway through that, it says Zoom link. You press that link a little bit before 10 to 10 Pacific time, and you're brought into our service. We'd love to have you here. We'd love for you. We'd love to hear what your insights are. If you'd like to share, you don't have to share, but if you'd like to, you can share too. But you get an opportunity to hear everybody else's also. So please do that. So before we close out, I have someone who is going to do a song for us that we're going to miss her because she's going on an excursion for the next month. So we have to catch Lynn Fuqua right now as we can. Lynn, you want to unmute yourself?
Hello.
Come on, girl.
This topic made me think of someone who's very, very special to me. She was my Aunt Gloria. And Gloria was a perfect name for her because she really was glorious. And she was a person who just learned how to communicate with just about anyone. And this topic made me think of her because her whole working life was dedicated to working with children who people had written off at the time. She was 90 years old when she passed. And so when she began working with developmentally challenged children, the word was retarded. But she didn't see them as that. She saw them as special. And it all started with this neighbor boy who she taught to roller skate. And by the time she was done with a high school education, she had gone from being a volunteer working with these children to being a worker, to being the head of the establishment, to talking to PhDs about how to see the beauty in these learning differences and accentuate the positive. Her very favorite word on the planet was marvelous, and that is how she said it, marvelous. And all of us who knew her started saying it the same way. And so I'm going to sing this song, and hopefully I won't cry. Because it just expresses so much about, she was like, looking at these people and as Jesus would, and seeing in them the beauty and how she could grow and teach other people to grow in regard to that. So here we go. You're just too marvelous, too marvelous for words like glorious or glamorous, or that old standby amorous. You are just too marvelous. I cannot find the words to say enough, tell enough. You know they're just not swell enough, 'cause you're much too much, and oh, too very, very to ever be contained in Webster's dictionary. And so I am offering this love song from the birds to tell you that you're marvelous, too marvelous for words, too marvelous for words.
Wow. Thank you, Lynn. God bless you. And God bless Gloria. I love her too. Thank you. Well, we're going to close out right now with a prayer. And then I'm going to stop the recording, and then we're going to start our sharing. So all those who, again, watching on YouTube, please join us on Sunday. So embracing each of the songs, embracing the idea that God had when He thought of each of us, that we are marvelous, that everything that we are is the magnificence of the divine compressed into our very being, our human being, our physical being, and our spiritual being. We bless ourselves, we bless each other, we bless the world. Thank you, Father. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we'll start our sharing time.